Hey parents, welcome back to Teenager Tuesday. Very excited for what we're starting today, talking through AI, what to do with it, a little bit of how it works. I'm sure a lot of you have toyed with it already. If you haven't, it is pretty fun.
It is.
We were messing around with it earlier today, actually. Kira and I. Kira's back. She was here last week. Kira Watt said, I'm Will Perry if we haven't met. And I want to start out by talking about AI to say that a lot more of us work with AI, interact with AI every day than we actually think we do. Mm-hmm. There was a survey from ZDNet, and in the survey, they did a ton of adults who said, 1,400 adults who said that they were not interacting with artificial intelligence. And then when they dove into and asked them questions about what they do every day, what they do on a screen every day, it found out that 63% of them were actually already using artificial
That's so crazy.
intelligence. So it's not like, oh, it's coming. It's already here. Yep. We're already using it. And so let's get ahead of it. One thing that I wrote down in the content that I think is so true for us is that we need to prepare our students to navigate AI, not try to avoid it.
Yeah.
It's already here. Mm-hmm. It's already around us. We're already working with it. I like Kevin Kelly's words, said our smart technology advances so quickly, it outpaces our ability to civilize it.
Golly.
As we have an interesting information and survey, actually we have a survey next week that we found from Microsoft that goes into that. It outpaces morality of it.
Yeah.
So instead of avoiding it, let's just embrace it with cautious optimism and add a moral compass to our students. So Kira, you're going to kick us off with the content for today.
Yeah. So the first thing about AI is it has information, but there's no connection with it. Yeah. And it's interesting because AI is really beginning to interact over messages like people.
Yes. Weird.
ChatGPT, which is what we kind of
that's kind of the alpha of AI.
Yeah. It's what people are talking about most.
Yeah.
Right now. It's not talking back. Instead, it's basically coming up with a very sophisticated predictive text response to you. And so the bot is predicting what it should say after analyzing countless gigs of data based on human interactions online, which is really terrifying. It's like kind of creepy.
Yeah, because it's
when you think about it.
It's like kind of receiving your information,
right?
But more so, it's just predictive text.
Yeah.
So it's not actually interacting with you; it's guessing at you.
Right.
Yeah.
But you feel like it's an interaction.
Yes. Which you have a couple crazy examples.
Yeah. So Snapchat has AI that people can talk to right now. Which
not
is
a fan.
I'm
not the biggest fan
at
of
all.
Snapchat.
Yeah, we don't love Snapchat. But they have one that you can talk to, and it's just a completely false connection in general. But then I also saw something on Facebook randomly the other day about a guy who's creating an AI wife, and he's almost done with it. It's like this robot lady who is an AI and acts like his wife, which is so strange.
Does it look like a girl and everything?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's so weird.
I wonder if he says
weird.
till death do you part? Like, how do you, till reset do you part? Till factory reset?
I don't know. That's so strange. It's just so crazy to me.
It's going to get weirder too. And what you said before, AI has information but no connection. I think is so huge that if we're not saying that to our students, let's make sure to start saying that.
Yeah.
Because the AI will keep getting more sophisticated, and it'll seem like it's interacting with us, and it's a person, but it's a fake connection. It's information. Right. It's not actual connection. Stay with me here. This is a crazy illustration, but it has a good point. A lot of years ago, I learned that people who are active with pornography, often active in pornography, rated higher in loneliness than people who are in the exact same financial situations, season of life, everything else. The people who watch and were active with porn were lonelier in how they describe themselves, how they describe their feelings, way lonelier. So then they studied this, like, why is this happening? And one of the things that they looked into was what's going on chemically. And we all know oxytocin is this like bonding agent. It's some people call it the love hormone.
Yeah.
And oxytocin, really, it releases highly at a few different points. When we're face-to-face talking with each other, when we hear like audibly, the levels kind of spike up. When we're interacting with people on any level, funny enough, one of the highest ways that oxytocin releases is when we're talking with people over food.
Huh.
Crazy.
I like food.
The
so that makes
highest time that it is released for a bonding agent is after sex. After sex. So what they found was that when people were looking at pornography and interacting with yourself with pornography, their oxytocin was released, but there was no human being present to connect with. Therefore, it was this artificial connection to nobody there.
Wow.
And AI, I believe AI could end up leaving people in a similar feeling way.
Yeah.
Because they think they're interacting with this thing that knows them, there's talking to them, but it's an artificial connection. Another study, which is crazy, and I'll say this quickly. This one's going to go a little bit long, and so is next week. So bear yourself. But National Library of Medicine, they did this study between moms and daughters, and what they found was they had some moms and some daughters interact audibly, whether in person or over the phone, and some only interacting with text messages and messaging online. And they found that the levels of oxytocin were way higher when it was audible interaction. And what they found is that messaging had a little bit of oxytocin, but higher stress levels, no matter the topic.
That's
higher
so
stress
interesting.
levels. It could be good conversation, bad conversation. The stress between mom and daughter was higher just messaging.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting that you say that because I feel like I experienced that a lot with my mom in high school. I think we used to text all the time because I was just out of the house a lot as a high school student. Once I got my driver's license, I was just kind of all over the place. And I feel like we were so similar. And I mean, we still are so similar, my mom and I, in the way that we respond to things, that I just was putting so much of my emotion into what she was saying. And so I could definitely see how stress levels would be heightened because I'm just assuming all of these different emotions that she's not even meaning behind the text that she's sending.
Yeah, we're filling in the gaps.
Yeah, so it makes sense.
Yeah, so number one was it has information but no connection. Kira, what's number two?
It could diminish writing skills, which I think it already has. It already is.
For sure.
But I think 50 years ago, writing skills were way better because they had to be.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it, when typewriters were invented, they had to write slow. There was no autocorrect. There was no Grammarly. There was nothing to help them.
You could correct a mistake. It would take so long. You'd have to wind the paper.
And you'd have to go all the way back, start over.
Now I keep misspelling just the exact same way when I type, but Grammarly fixes it for me.
For me, it's receipt. I always spell receipt wrong the first go around. But now we have so many shortcuts. Many shortcuts.
Well, and for time's sake, Kira, I want you to talk about the 4-page. Talk about it, like how we kind of toyed with that earlier, the writing the paper with ChatGPT.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was so crazy. So we asked ChatGPT to help us write a 4-page double-spaced paper on the life of an elephant. And it wrote it probably in about like 2 or 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
A 4-page double-spaced paper.
Yep.
And then we told them to rewrite it without plagiarism, and it did.
Yep.
And so, I mean, Will, you probably wrote a ton of papers in college. I wrote a ton of papers in college as a ministry major. And so, like, I don't remember any of those papers.
Yeah,
I remember the content, some of it. But, I mean, I would have learned so much less if I had an AI writing it for me.
For sure. Because you're memorizing prompts at that point.
Right.
You're not memorizing, or you're not learning. You're memorizing prompts.
Right.
Yeah. Which, if your kid already has AI and has interacted with AI, I almost guarantee that they've used it to write a paper. Another thing that we did is we asked it to write a paper on the history of the Bible.
Yes.
The history of the Bible. And then I said, can you give me the cited sources from that paper? And it gave me 5 cited sources in the exact format that I could just copy and paste it to be cited.
Yeah,
no
work necessary.
Yeah, no work. Which, well, we'll talk a lot about it being a tool next week. This week, we want to end on this note about talking about what are some things that you can do with it. So those are some things to kind of know. And now what do you do with that information? Number one, experiment together. Do not let them just go wild with ChatGPT, any kind of AI by themselves. Don't let them do it. And we'll give you even more reasons to not let them do that next week. But just do it with them, interact with them, or like just bring up the conversation. But I would just say go ahead and make sure that all that stuff is blocked right now. Because, it's just, there's too many dangers right now.
Number two, talk about the pros and cons that they think exist. Again, we talked about this a little bit last week with social media, but don't just assume what they think the pros and cons of it are. Have them write it out and have them talk through it with you.
Yeah, that's good. Well, and that'll help you set up future conversations too, because then you have a baseline of what they think. And not what you think they should think.
Right.
You know? And then number three, prioritize connection and memories without screens. I hope it doesn't just go without saying, be face-to-face. It's better for their mental health, better for their family health, better for their spiritual health. Just prioritize, have a conversation about that as a family, we prioritize human connection, memories without screens, and all of that. Yeah.
Yep. Going back a little bit to my mom, I think that's one thing that she did really well is prioritizing in-person time, even though I was out of the house all the time. And so we had time set aside every week, at least once a week, where we would be together and we'd spend time together. And she did a really great job with that. So that's very, very important. Well, parents, you can do this. You are not alone. God is with you, and so are we.
Have a great week, parents.